I've been sharing a lot of poetry recently, but at the expense of my prose. And I suppose maybe there'll be a similarly positive reception here. I can't say one way or the other. I don't know what to expect there. But on December 16th, my third novel was released. It's entitled Beneath the Unspoiled Wilderness. It does take place in approximately the same area where I currently live, just maybe 50 to 100 miles north. So, I thought I might go ahead and share the prologue to this, kind of give you a sample of what you might expect from the rest of the novel. I hope you enjoy. Prologue, 1995. The engine rattles momentarily, and then it dies. God damn it. Billy should have expected this. The car had been on its last legs for a while, but it's not like he could just run off and buy something new. Jen glances over from the passenger seat, knowing better than to interrupt him. If he wasn't so fixated on safely controlling the decelerating car, he'd surely catch the look in her eyes. A look he knows well, one signifying an all-too-familiar sense of disappointment, combined with the sort of derisive amusement Jen feels whenever Billy's throwing one of his temper tantrums. He's always been passionate, which Jen thinks is great. He's also prone to outbursts, which is traditionally less great. At present, they agree on one thing. Now is not the right time for this shit to be happening to them. They're still hundreds of miles from home, and it's already getting dark. Billy coasts the car to the side of the road and shifts it into park, then turns the key in the ignition a couple of times. Nothing. He slams his foot against the gas pedal and tries again. Nothing. There's only the click from the ignition and nothing more. The fuel gauge still reads a full tank. He slams his hands against the steering wheel hard enough to start his right palm stinging from the impact. It's just one more thing to make him irritable. Should I put on my jacket? Jen has already twisted herself to dig through the back seat for the zip-up she'd tossed back there as she asked the question. We're walking back to town, I assume? Billy grumbles for a second before replying, Yeah, it looks that way. He's already starting to calm down from the flare of irritation. We can't be too far, she says. I'm pretty sure that glow on the horizon back there is the town where we just filled the tank, Billy replies, as he slides his arms into his own jacket. The night air is cool and damp as they begin walking along the dark highway, which is only infrequently illuminated as the sliver of moon slips from behind clouds. It was a good idea to bring jackets. He knows it's coming before Jen says a word. In the faint light, he can see the way she's squeezing her legs together as she walks, scuffing her feet against the pavement more than she previously was. She's stubborn, so he has to wait a little while before she says what he knows she's been thinking. Billy? Jen finally says, I have to pee. He stifles a chuckle, grateful for the darkness that's hopefully keeping her from seeing the smirk threatening to split his face. Run along then, he says. Jen scampers from the road, through the ditch, and over to the line of trees. Billy loses sight of her almost immediately, as the shadows swallow up her silhouette in the greater silhouette of the forest itself. Shuffling his feet against the pebbles on the asphalt, Billy paces back and forth, hoping she hurries. Minutes pass, and Jen still doesn't return. Hey, you almost finished down there? He tries to avoid letting his nervousness and concern enter his voice, but there's no way to hold back entirely. Jen doesn't respond. Billy concentrates on carefully placing his feet as he descends the slight bank leading to where he presumes Jen's waiting to scare him. It crosses his mind that she could be hurt, but that seems unlikely. She might have tripped or fallen, but if she had, he's sure she'd have made some noise, alerting him to that. Jen? He wishes he hadn't quit smoking the month before. A lighter would come in handy. A flashlight would be better, but a lighter would work. Where the hell are you, Jen? She doesn't answer. Aside from his breathing, only crickets and a light breeze through the grass and abundant leaves break the silence. He's pushing branches aside as he passes through a small copse of trees when he feels a sudden cramping pain in his stomach. A startled, gagging exhalation erupts from his mouth as Billy stops moving forward unevenly, his legs still attempting to take a couple of steps as the rest of him halts. He tilts backward and loses his balance. As he approaches the ground, Billy's descent is jarringly arrested. His head drops further than his midsection, and he feels a painful sensation as the large stone protruding from the earth halts the descent of his lower spine. He coughs, and the ejection tastes coppery. Blood rising at the back of his throat causes him to choke, and Billy tilts his head to the right, attempting to spit. The contortion forces a searing agony across his abdomen as lacerated muscles tear and a loop of his intestine pushes through an exit Billy is blissfully unaware of. He feels like he's pissed his pants as blood flowing from the ruined stomach soaks his jeans and underwear. A strange white shape separates itself from the shadows, emerging directly above him. A face that isn't a face stares down at him, a darkness greater than the night where the eyes should be. Billy coughs again, causing blood to bubble up between his lips and soft feces to squeeze through the tear in his abdomen. As a giant hand wraps itself around his face and yanks him roughly into the deeper parts of the forest, Billy feels nothing more. Only a few feet away from him, an unconscious Jen is tugged along with little more gentleness. From there we jump forward to the proper Chapter 1, which doesn't begin until 2018, and the rest of the story takes place in 2018. But that was the prologue for Beneath the Unspoiled Wilderness, setting the stage a little bit for what's to come. I hope you enjoyed it.